All right, I'm gonna do this video at my phone. I'm trying a different camera thing here. Software, so here. So this is Logic Pro 10, and this light is terrible. I think it's coming from this other screen, maybe? A little bit. All right, I'll close that one off. Okay, so with the new release for Logic Pro coming to iPad, iOS, I will say this about it. I do not think, based on what I'm hearing, that it's going to be a full one-to-one version. I don't expect that. It will be subscription. I know a lot of people don't like that. I don't really like subscription, but I do want the app, if it's good, if it's a quality app like I think it's going to be, I do want to see it grow, because one of the reasons why I don't use iOS as much as I used to is because it seems to just stagger and just go through this moment of like where all of a sudden you get like reverb after reverb or effect after effect or whatever the case may be, but you never have anyone sit down and make a DAW or anyone that puts together something super that I'm more interested in using. And then the few that are out there, they're either super buggy or the dev gives up on them, right? And a lot of times I think they give up on them is because there's not any money involved in them. And so I kind of get that. See, Apple doesn't need Logic to survive. It doesn't need Final Cut Pro to survive. They make money more off of what you're looking at right now. The thing that's recording, that's the iPhone, and this device, which is a MacBook Pro, and the iPad that you've seen me use. That's where they make their money off of primarily. And this camera is tilting. So that's understandable. But I think it's going to be nice to have, especially if you have it on desktop, then you know you're going to be able to use it on your iPad, start a project, and then come over to here and finish it. Doing that before is possible, but it's very much a pain in the butt. And now you have something to alleviate that problem. And I think it's going to be really worth it. So here's my thoughts. It's what, $4.99 a month or $50 a year. And you get 30 days free to try it. So try it for 30 days. That's a no-brainer. And then after the 30 days, cancel the subscription and then decide at that point, is this something worth that's going to be worth it to me? Now I'll tell you my story, and you've heard me say this before. I do not like Cubasis 3. I never have. I bought it. I think it was $50 when I got it. It was not on sale, and I haven't used it but maybe once to make a song, and I've had it since it first came out. And I just don't like anything about it. The editing in it, I don't like any of it. So that's me personally, just telling you my feelings on it. And I do like Beatmaker 3. I do like Drumbo. Drumbo took me a while to warm up to because it's just a different, unique workflow. But those are more like groove boxes, and they're not really the same as a DAW to me. They're a groove box that just happens to have an arranger in it, right, that you can use. Whereas Cubasis is supposed to be an actual DAW. Nano Studio 2 never clicked with me, and partially because I like to work with audio and it's primarily MIDI. And AUM is a mixer. It's not really a DAW. Koala is a sampler. It's not really a DAW. It's got the ability to arrange a song in there. You can arrange stuff in AUM. You can use some of these all together in AUM. But in the end, we do not have a real DAW. Even Loopy Pro, like as cool as it could be, it's a looper. That's really what it's bent on doing. Does it have some DAW-like features in it? Yes. Can it be used as a DAW? I guess, if that's how you want to make music. But it's not for me. So for a while, I didn't even want to touch iPad really that much. And for the longest time, I wanted Logic Pro to come over. In fact, when they first dropped the M1, I was going to pre-order it for an M1. And then I canceled. As soon as I found out they weren't bringing Logic, I was like, I'm done. And so now it's kind of cool that they've actually decided to go ahead and bring it over, or at least bring over a close to one-to-one. I think it's probably going to be somewhere between Logic and what's the other one? Hold on 1 second. I'm going to pull up another one here. iOS here, you have, iOS, on Mac OS, you have, if I have it on here, if I didn't remove it, GarageBand is somewhere on here probably. Again, I never use GarageBand for the most part, so most of the time I'm in Ableton. To be honest, it should be up here where the G's are, so it's not hard to find. I think I removed it. Unless it's in, nope, I removed it. Okay, no big deal. Let's go back to Logic. So I thought this video would be cool. Not only tell you, because there's so many videos that are showing the screens. I don't need to show you what Apple showed you. Just watch the Apple video. I think there's just no purpose in that for me to do it. And I'm not a video editor either. I don't really see the point of doing it. But some of the cool things about it, and again, I do not know what they're going to bring over or not bring over, but these are some of the things I like in Logic Pro. So one is I use Ableton a lot, and I love MIDI capture. And you notice right here, this is capture recording. So you can actually capture the MIDI inside of Logic Pro, which is kind of cool. I think that's one of my features that I enjoy. The other feature I enjoy, I may have to, in order for you to see it, I may have to do something here where I drum. Yeah, let me just drum something in. Doesn't matter what I play. I'm not going to use the metronome anyway. I'm just trying to show you. So while it does it kind of. All right, cool. So I just use the SP, drummed in something. So you see out here. So one of the things I'm going to move. Hopefully, I'm not going to touch the phone because it'll mess up. One of the things I love about Ableton is warping. Being able to move audio around if you are a little off, or you want to stretch the audio or move it over here. And Logic has its own version. It's called Flex, and that's the button right here. So if you see it, it'll say turn on Flex. So you can see these little lines are the transients. You can add one if you want to. But if you click on it, you can see how you can just drag the audio around and stretch it to match it where you want it to be. So this, to me, this feature, like if I want to put that there and I say I want this one here, is to me a huge, is just the best, okay? If I'm being honest, there's no better way to work with MIDI. To work with audio than this. And MIDI, it's easy because you can just adjust the note and you see the actual, the MIDI note. Whereas with audio, most of the time people are afraid to do it unless they're like super spot on. But with this, it just kind of eliminates all of that. Cancel that. Kind of eliminates all of that. Being able to adjust these notes, you don't feel so like, don't ask again, cancel. You don't feel so strapped, like I can't, I thought I did this, cancel. But anyway, having that ability, I think is super unique to be able to do it. So I'm just messing around here, just showing you. So we don't have on iOS, in my opinion, we don't have a solid editor, MIDI editor, audio editor. You might have MIDI, but audio is what I meant to say. We don't have a solid audio editor. So this is super cool if Flex is available to be able to MIDI edit. The samplers in here are really good. So like I'm just going to take that, drag it across. You can see then it offers like a drum machine. You can do optimize, you can do original. Let's just do optimize, it's fine. And you'll see it chops up the samples for you. So now you can just play it back. Now this one I think is going to be, from what I've seen, is going to be in there. So this right here is amazing. And you can see it puts the notes here so you know which notes you need to play for each sample. So this is going to be fun. We're going to enjoy that perhaps in it. Let's do this. We'll go to the original sampler. Now the original sampler is very similar, and I don't really know the difference, to be honest with you, with the original versus the other one. I have no clue. And then the drum machine, You can see here I put it in for the drum machine. So you can sit here, you can put different drums here and build your own drum machine and then save it. So DMD is always the drum machine designer. So I believe this is going to be on there for sure, and the sampler for sure. I'm going to delete that now. All right, so that's going to be on there as far as what I've seen in the video. I'm going off of what I've seen in the video. Another thing I like about Logic is a lot of their effects are actually really good. Their delays, their reverbs, their EQ is nice. So let's look at their channel EQ. Kind of looks like we on iOS we would kind of think of Tone Booster maybe, or we might think of Fab Filter if you have that one. But you can see, you know, you can draw the notes and this here, and you have all the shapes that you can use. And then of course it's got presets, like if you're doing keyboard and you want to use their EQ for that, you can do that or adjust it. And it has an analyze thing here. I think it's solid. I mean, if you don't, and again, having a DAW where there's something in there that you can just be like, yeah, I want that, right? And you don't have to go buy 500 different pieces to put it together. It's kind of nice to have a DAW that has a legit, and if you don't like that EQ, then you could go buy the EQ that you want, you know? So this is what, to me, desktop brings, and to have that on iOS or even something close to that is going to be phenomenal. I mean, to me, just having the linear ability to play out a song, if I want to play my guitar or bass, or I could just play, right? Then I cut it, clip it where I want to cut it. I want to make duplicate copies. See, I can just drag it out and it's duplicating the copies. There's commands, like if you know, let's say I want to just, I can do Command R, right? If I want to make duplicate copies. And if I want to join these copies together, I can highlight them all, Command J, and it will make a continuous loop. Boom, and now I have that continuous loop. So things like that that are quick, that make your workflow really fast, are going to be nice if it's, in fact, everything we hope it to be, right? But I do think this. Remember when you first bought a plugin in iOS, and it was like, it was cool, and then all of a sudden it started glitching, it started messing up, and you're like, really? And you had to wait for that update. And it's true, it's going to happen at times, things like that. But imagine when you have a company, you're paying a subscription. They know you'll cancel if they don't, they're going to make sure that it's working. So you're going to get regular updates when you pay for a subscription. And that's the benefit, I think, in having a subscription versus like getting buying one time for an app or something, and then it's like it breaks and you wait months before you see an update. And you know, they understand you're paying for a subscription that you're going to want. So my advice once again is try the free version. If it don't fit you, then cool, move on. But if it does and you like it, then go in and pay the $50 and do the month. Because here's the thing, so $50 for the year is about $4.17. So if you pay $4.99 a month, you're gonna be paying the whole $5 versus the $4.17. Saves you a little money. Plus, you'll have it for a guaranteed year. After the year comes, if you don't really want it, if you didn't find yourself using it, then just cancel the subscription. Super simple. And then you can move on away from it. And maybe by that time, you'll see other DAWs and things that'll start joining in, like hopefully Ableton at some point, and maybe Fruity Loops Studio or something like that. Because I think right now we just got Fruity Loops Mobile on iOS. So that ain't the one. That thing is not it. They got to fix that. But anyway, carry on. So you got the flexing, which is sort of like what Ableton offers with the warping, right? You got the MIDI capture, which is really cool. The editing tools is insane. It's easy to do on here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I just don't have the time. But check this out, even better. Look at the mixer. Now, there's only one track on here right now. But let's say I want to go down here and do a bus track. I got all these bus tracks. I'll add one in. right? And so now I can put on the bus track maybe my compressor that I like to use. Now, of course, if you're on iOS, you would be using whatever compressors you have there or whatever built into Logic. I'm just showing you. And then if you want to adjust how much on this particular track, you can do that, right? How much of that bus is going to be, how much of that compressor is going to be on this particular track, and you can just keep adding it in and doing that. So a great mixer. You got all the faders right there, the mutes, the solo. So this is a full-fledged DAW. It's sort of foreign to us when we are on iOS, and I think Cubasis is probably the only one that has the DAW layout, I guess you would say, and I'm just not a fan of it. Now, on the MacBook, and I don't know if it'll be like this on the iOS, you can actually take this screen and move this screen somewhere else and put it on a different, like let's say you have two screens, you're working on this and you want to use your iPad as a screen, you can do that and move it over, right? So you have all those options. Yeah, and then you got all the EQs, like I said, the master effects, just everything. So full-fledged DAW, I'm not going to sit here and go through everything, but it's nice when you have all this in one location. I mean, the sheer audio effects that you have right here just built in. I haven't counted these yet, but if you go through them and count them, I think they said there's 100, right? So there's 4 there, another 5, that's 9, another, that'll be 15 right there. So my thought process based on my counting so far right now, and I'm not even really full on counting, there has got to be all of these right here are probably in the new one if there's 100 effects like they're saying, because these are the effects, right? Then if you go to let's go to this is an audio track. I'm going to do a software instrument track. Okay, there's a software instrument track. So here's the instruments in there, and we know Alchemy, some form of Alchemy is in there. There's going to be a drum designer kit, probably more than likely, because there's a DMD, which would make sense that it would be there. So if they add all this, look how many instruments and things you get in Logic. And some of these are really good. Some of the keyboards and stuff like that are really nice. So imagine you're paying $50 a year. You're getting all these keyboards and different things in here, those instruments you can use, which are solid instruments for the most part. Then you're getting the support. Then on top of that, you get all the other features and the 100 effects. So whereas you might go buy like 4 or 5 apps that'll cost you $50 by the time you buy them, and you might still want to have those, right? You want to use them, which is cool. But you buy those 4 or 5 apps that cost you $50, and you got half, almost the majority of the stuff you need right here in the DAW. So think about it that way, and don't reflect on just it's $50 one time or it's $50 per year. Think about all that you're getting from this as a complete unit to be able to mix your music, to be able to finish your music on the iPad. Because I tell you what, I struggle finishing music on the iPad because it's a lot of work. All that jumping around is just a lot of work. And so I like the idea of having a DAW. And if I want to go do something in a different app, that's cool. But the great thing about it is and I'll show you this real quick and then we'll end the video. There is, where is it at? Right here. AUV3s right now. Like, look, here's Drombo. I'm not going to use it right now because, but here's Radio Unit, which I use, right? See, they work on the desktop for the most part. If the dev put them out there, here's Koala Sampler. If the dev put them out there, then you'll see them, like it may take a second because Koala doesn't work very well as an AUV, or at least not on desktop. But that's okay because now you'll have the ability to use it, right? You'll have all this stuff when you go into, but if the dev didn't put it out there, for the universal control, then it won't be on here. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. But there's so much. Tone boosters is on here in general. Where's the other one that I wanted to show you? See if I can find it. It's under Akai. Oh, I'm not seeing it right now. So you see decent samplers there. Saitala is there. You can get Koala. So a lot of this stuff is on, you can use on the desktop. But imagine now having that on your, using everything that you're used to using as far as your instruments, as far as your effects, and having this beautiful canvas to be able to put them in and use them and keep it all together. So you're not piecemealing everything where you're running over here to get one thing, running back over to that app to get another thing. And by the time you look up, you forgot to save one. And now it crashes. And then you got to try to figure out how you're going to get your parts back that you lost. And listen, it's frustrating. And you know it is, and I know it is. And so it's nice to have an option like this. So $50 may seem like a lot, but try it out, see if it works for you, and then make it work. All right, I'm off. I gave you my little one-off rant about it. I won't be speaking on it probably much more unless you see me using it, because I will be getting it personally because I think it's worth it. And yeah, you can look up the specs and look at the video that Apple put out and get an idea of what it looks like. But there's just so much good stuff in Logic. Logic is one of my favorites. I used it since Logic 8. I'm not new to it. I use Logic 8, 9, and now I've used 10. I've owned 10. 8 and 9 I had back in the day. I don't even know what I had on other computers. I don't have access to that. But Live, I do have Live. And I'm hoping that if we all support this particular feature, to if we can and if we want to, right? No forcing nobody. But if we do support it, that we might see other devs come out, or other companies, I should say, come out, like Ableton, Fruity Loop Studio. So this isn't just about Logic, it's about, or Apple, this is about expanding iOS so that you can get more for your money. Because you spent a grip of money on an iPad, if you got especially if you got a newer one, you spend a grip of money on that. You want to get some pro tools, and this is our way of trying to get there, right? So anyway, all right, that's it. I said that was it like 3 times now, and this time is seriously. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a lot of talking, but that was kind of the point of the video, was just to tell you my feelings on it. All right, show you a few features I like that I hope that Apple brings over to it. I'm sure some of these I know they will. Some of them I hope for, but we'll see what they do. Hey, what is that, May 23rd? So we got a couple weeks, and we'll see. All right, let me know what you think in the comments. And I understand if you don't like subscriptions. We're all there, so I get that. All right, bye.